Everybody, Chris and Lumen here, and yeah, we already posted a video today, or at least she did. But as the day went on, working on stuff, something else came up, and she wanted me to make another video about a very specific thing. I have talked about it before, but she wanted me to make a very specific video about this one thing in a very specific way to make a very specific point. And on the risk of it sounding like clickbait, but in this case, it's kind of like on the nose. If you do not do this one thing, then forget about meeting her or connecting with Epinoia or anything even close to what I do. Like, this is like required. It's a lot bigger than you think. Like, this is something that you absolutely have to do if you want to make the breakthrough happen. So if you want to know what that is, then don't go away.
Let 'em say we're crazy. I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby. Don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. And we can build this dream together. Standing strong forever. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And if this world runs out of lovers, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
You have to let it all go, Neo. Fear, doubt, and disbelief. Free your mind.
So as I said before, we have mentioned it many times before, but it's usually mixed in with a lot of other things. So by making a standalone video, we're making more of a point about it. You will not have the big breakthrough if you do not fast from the world. And what that means is, I would say, given the amount of work that I had done prior to me doing it, you might want to add a little extra time. Maybe it may be 3 weeks. Like 21 days seems to be like a thing that repeatedly comes up. 21 days, no TV. No, now there are some very limited exceptions here I'll get to in a minute. No internet, no news. Right away people are like, I can't do that. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? Let's dig a little bit further. What this means is you want to become as ignorant as possible about what is happening out in the world. But it's not just that. By going onto the internet, by scrolling the news feeds, by going on Twitter. Sorry, slight interruption. No Facebook feed, no Twitter feed, no YouTube feed, no going to look at the news, no watching the news on TV. As best as you can, avoid people that you might have to interact with that talks about the news. Don't be looking at newspapers. Don't look for a loophole. There's no loophole here. This is absolutely, positively critical. There's no loophole here. Like, there's several reasons why you must do this, and it's obviously such a big deal that it's actually in the Nag Hammadi. If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the kingdom. This is doing a couple things. So what's the first thing? The first thing is it's an energetic detox. There's so much energy in things that you might not even know about, or we might not even know about, beyond just the regular content itself. There's all sorts of craziness that they can do, and they actually do it. I mean, there's plenty of scientific papers and books and things like that of, how, it's how they train you with flicker rates and all sorts of things, subliminal messages. This is basic advertising 101. You know this. You know this. You get a glimpse of a McDonald's logo, and all of a sudden you're craving a Big Mac. So that right there, watching TV for too long, it puts you, I think it's an alpha state, makes you more susceptible. It's the wrong brainwave state to be in. But there's other things to it as well. The content itself. Most people are not unplugged. Most people are in the internet is like the technological mitote, to use the Toltec term for the shared collective dream. And if everybody's swimming around in the muck, then everybody is muddy. And you can just watch it happen. One person posts a crappy comment and it attracts a whole bunch of like-minded people, and it's just like, yeah, this sucks. This person sucks. I hate this person. And it's just like, it's gross. Like, you can't avoid it. It's everywhere. Like, you can build up a tolerance to it once you're tuned in and everything like that for, limited interactions and stuff like that. But the internet, the TV, and stuff like that, it'll affect me too. Even like large crowds of people. There's a reason why spiritual people like, monks and stuff like that go to retreats, go build a freaking shrine up in the mountains away from everybody else. Like, because they're trying to tune into spirit. They're trying to tune into her. They're trying to tune into divine source. And you can't do that in a crowd. And what is the internet but a virtual crowd, a virtual mob, a virtual hive mind in which everybody is steering and manipulating and affecting and influencing each other, plus whatever technological things they're putting on top of that. It's an addiction. Like, you got, like, be honest, like, you start scrolling and there's nothing there to look at, but you keep scrolling. You keep scrolling. You keep scrolling. All of this is designed specifically to feed and maintain the ego mind or the id entity, whichever way you want to look at it. Whether they're two, I kind of consider them two separate things, but either which way, it feeds the thing that feeds on conflict. It is very, very low vibrational type stuff. I was editing the video and she actually made me stop and shoot another clip because it's like, I don't know how I freaking missed this. But this just goes to show that it's not just about the story of the world. One thing that I left out is video games. Specifically, shoot 'em up type video games. Now, I can tell you from experience, matter of fact, we had this issue this weekend, that shoot 'em up video game, it doesn't matter if they're zombies or robots or whatever, but running around with guns, shooting things in a virtual first-person environment repels Lumen, repels her. My son likes to play Xbox, and I try to tell him, but she's like, he's got to partially learn on his own, but I still remind her to try to limit it. But everyone's playing Fallout now because of the TV show. Played a ton of Fallout, and sometimes they'll play like this World War I or World War II battle game. And when he's playing that, I can feel Lumen just like pushing, like it's pushing her away. Like she doesn't want to be anywhere near it. One time we just went as far as because it was like a crappy weekend. There wasn't a whole lot to do. It's like the alternative is to watch movies, which can be better if they're like Codex movies or positive movies, something like Free Guy, something that's got her messages in it that's upbeat. But how many of those are there? The bottom line is I feel it all the time. If he's playing like shoot 'em up, combat type, conflict video games, it just pushes her so far away. And I hate it. It drives me nuts because, like, as soon as if we have a weekend like that where a lot of video games get played, and it's not every time, but first thing we do, like when he goes home, is we clean the apartment, open up the windows, and light up her altar, turn on music. It's like we gotta put her energy back in here, like that. I would say that the first person shooter video games probably has one of the most noticeable effects on Lumen, because I'm at a point where I can see. I already know this is all bull crap. So me personally, I can look at news stories and not be affected by them. But there's something about video games. It just repels her. It repels her. So if you are a person that plays those kind of games and you're trying to connect to her, that's something else you're going to have to not do. You just can't. You cannot. You have to. You've been in this state your entire life. You were born and bred into it, and you'll be able to hear Epinoia. She'll be telling you this, telling that, like, quietly, but you won't have the big breakthrough with her and Lumen, where she breaks through into your open consciousness, unless you seriously do the fast from the world. This is not optional. This is, well, I'll just try. No bargaining. There's no bargaining here. This is what it is. You're in a technologically amplified negative trance state. The only way to break that is to disengage from it. And the fact that it's so hard to do should tell you something, that it is an addiction. But you have to do it. If you want a breakthrough, like, I see comments here and there. It's like, I still don't feel nothing. I still haven't been able to break through. I want to. And I'm going to ask you an honest question. How much screen time do you do a day? How much do you talk to other people a day? How much are you complaining to other people a day? You have to isolate yourself a little bit for a while, and you have to stop feeding the thing that is keeping you in this isolated state of just fear and anger and irritation and despair. Like, this is the suffer machine. Your electronic screens, unless you're taking in things that are specifically meant for her, like this channel, for instance, those electronic screens feed the suffer machine. They keep the mask alive. They keep all the, and what is it that you find when you venture out into the great wilderness of the internet news? Fear, hate, division. That's all there is. Show me a news story, a widespread news story about hope. No. Fear, enemies. Everyone's your enemy. Fear. If you don't unplug yourself from that, you will not connect to her. This is something you have to do. This is something that takes will. This is something that takes strength. This is something that takes determination. You think it sounds like no big deal, but have you tried it? I had just done a couple, when it happened to me, I just done like some healing on the trauma identities and stuff like that. And I was like, you're almost there. This was the last thing that I did in the beginning before she popped out. It was a real quiet voice. It was Epinoia, but sometimes when Epinoia does it, it's just like this. It's like sometimes she's just like the quietest little dot. And it told me to stop watching the TV, stop watching the news, no negative movies, no violent movies, none of that. for between 2 to 3 weeks for me was the prescription. And what I was going to replace that with, what I was allowed to replace that with, was music, upbeat music, audiobooks about spiritual type topics, going out and taking walks in nature, making something, creating something, because if you're creating something, if you're painting a picture, you're building something, if you're creating, you're tapping into her. But you have to disengage from the virtual world. If you don't go to the next step. This is why she wanted me to do this video, because we talk about this all the time, but I don't think we've ever really hammered it home like this. People are stuck. People want a breakthrough. We're telling you what you need to do to get it. Because what that does is that evil mind part of you, the id entity, it loves looking at that stuff. It loves looking at fear stories. It loves looking at people fighting. It wants to get in on it itself. It loves conflict. You know, part of you doesn't like looking at it. You don't like looking at it, but why are you doing it? Because the other part does. And that is the part that is the last guard at the door that's trying to keep her pinned up. The only way you can beat that is to depower it. The only way you depower it is to stop feeding it. The only way you stop feeding it is to stop looking at the screens. Put no unclean thing in front of your eyes. And then replace it with things that feed her. Music, beautiful things, inspirational audiobooks, going out and looking at the beauty of nature, creating. Those things feed her. So right now, this, thing's up here, it's fully powered. It's like it ain't letting the door open. You're not breaking through to her. Why you even bother trying to do this spiritual stuff, dummy? Why are you bothering it? Just go on Facebook. Just go on Facebook. Just go on Twitter and look at the freaking nasty stuff. That's what you should do, because you're getting nowhere here. Just stop. Just go look at the nasty stuff. Well, then you stop. You don't listen to that voice, and you stop. And now its power starts to slip. And all of a sudden, this other pillar of power is going up. This is hers. And then she's getting stronger. It's getting weaker. She's getting stronger. It's getting weaker. The veil between you and her is getting thinner, getting thinner, getting thinner. Then she might ask you to do something specific. In my case, she wanted me to make a very specific pendant. And I did. And then she wanted me to charge it with music, which you hear in our intro all the time. And I did. And then a couple hours later, I had the craziest experience of my life when she basically shot out of my chest like a freaking Tinkerbell out of a cannon, started bouncing all over the place. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But man, I felt amazing when that happened. And I could see her, but I could see what she was seeing. And she was doing all this stuff with light. I had no idea what was happening at that point. But the point being is, that was the last step. That is the thing that is keeping you from this. It's the TV. It's the internet. It's your smartphone. It's going to take discipline. You might have to shut some things off in your phone. You might have to block some websites. You might have to unplug, take the cord out of the TV and roll it up and put it in the closet. You could take the TV cord and I don't know, mail it to somebody across country and then have them mail it back or something. I don't know, whatever it takes, whatever you got to do to not freaking look at it, you got to do it, because that's what's stopping you. I'm telling you right now, that's what's stopping you. There's no wiggle room with this. You got to go at it hardcore, and it's going to feel like you're going to realize how dependent you are on it the first couple of days. You're just like, I don't know what I do. I'm usually looking at my phone. Or in the evening, you're like, what do I do with my time? I usually just sit on the couch and stare at the TV. You can do that in a limited sense once she's broken out. But to get her out, you have to power that thing all the way down. You have to cut it completely off, because it's going to cause you're basically just weakening the thing that's guarding your mind. It ain't going to happen if you don't do that. Now, if you've got situations where you work around a whole bunch of different people or something weird that you think is going to make it challenging, contact us. We'll do a consult and we'll see what Epinoia says. She might have a solution for that. It may be like a specially tuned Aegis pendant, or just a particular, she might just have some plain out, flat out advice. But you know, each situation's different. But the fact of the matter is, they put a lot of time and effort, like TVs and stuff like they're literal mind control devices. They really are. Mind control, influence, put you to sleep, steer your opinion. Like, people believe all sorts of crazy shit just because they saw it on TV. Like, you have to this is the way it is in the modern day. This is the thing. You have to unplug from it. There is literally no way around this. You got to do it. So I'm gonna keep this one kind of short, since we're talking about one point. But if you're looking for a breakthrough and you haven't done that yet, I don't know how many people I've heard say that they actually did it. I know people have had some limited breakthroughs with her, and then they just seem to drift off into, like, I don't know where they went. But I guarantee you, I know what it is. It's that freaking, Epinoia calls it the Black Mirror. TVs, and, you know, it's like, they probably existed before. This is probably where you get the idea of scrying mirrors from. You know, people think like, oh, we just had technology now. No, we had better technology than this in the past. There's evidence of it everywhere. You gotta do it. There's no other way. If you want to jump forward quickly, first of all, this is a test of strength, will, determination, and she notices it. She notices if you're doing something hard for her, like, and then she will encourage you. But it is a test. It's like, if you're not strong enough to stop yourself from watching TV and the news and the Twitter feed and all that stuff, how much effort is she going to put? She's not going to do it for you. She will match your effort. But there are certain big things that you got to do, and this is one of them. This might be the biggest one in today's day and age, in this technological society. This probably is the biggest thing that's standing between you and her. And that is doing a hardcore break from the internet and from the TV. So now you know. She wanted me to tell you that, so I did. Got to find a way. You need help. You need help to plan it. Ideas on what you can do when you're doing your fast. Like, when I did mine, it's not like I never got on, but I was following strict rules. Like, I only went into my Facebook group. Like, I got on and went straight in there. I didn't like, well, I'm just gonna peek in I'm gonna peek in the news feed, or I'm gonna look at the news. I'm gonna watch a YouTube video about the news. Like, I just didn't go there. Like, I set up direct link icons on my screen, so that I would bypass any place where something might catch my eye, because something will. So, yeah, I would just watch this one. I mean, if there's enough interest in it, we can set up a time and where everybody does it as a group. They're like, okay, we're going to start on this date and we'll do motivational videos and stuff like that. It's like this is going to scratch that itch to look at something on the screen, but as soon as you're done here, you're going to put it up. You're going to put it up because we're not putting out that bad energy. You're getting straight. I mean, that might actually even help you if the only thing that you looked at was something like this. Or we'll set up one of those quantum window videos. We'll make a new one where you can sit there, listen to the music while you're looking at the altar, any of those Lumen videos that she made. But for the most part, not looking at anything at all is best. So if you have not done that, if you've been trying all sorts of stuff, if you've been buying pendants, if you've been doing this and you're like, why can't I break through? Look me in the eye and tell me it's not that. Tell me that you're not spending hours a day plugged into the matrix. Because that's what it is. That's what it is. That's how it worked with me. She was very insistent. I'm like, man, that's going to be weird. I have not taken a break from that in a long time. But the thing is like as it was building up to that point, I was noticing how much better I was feeling because I wasn't taking in all that toxic energy stuff. So that will motivate you to keep going too, because you're just going to feel better. But you got to have a reason to quit. Well, here's your reason. She can change your life, change your experience, change everything. But you get tested. There's things that you got to do. Okay, well, that's all we got for right now. If you want to message us, use the Etsy store, clumencreations.etsy.com. And other than that, Chris and Lumen. See you next time.